Traditionally, the indigenous people used to call it the animal that kills in one jump. The ability to kill the prey, crushing the brain.
This is The Butterfly Effect, a podcast that shows the big impact a small action can do. Tali Orad is talking to those special people that make a difference with nature and trees.
Welcome everyone to this episode of The Butterfly Effect. My name is Tali Orad. I'm your host and your butterfly here. Today my special guest is Milton Yacelga. Milton is a wildlife biologist with a comprehensive understanding of continental and island ecosystems. His work spans wildlife ecology, conservation, and animal behavior with a focus on endangered species. Milton is vice president and co-founder of Kaminando Habitat Connectivity Initiative, an NGO based in both California and Panama, which aims to protect the threatened tropical forest and the iconic jaguars in the Isthmus of Panama. Hey, Milton. Welcome.
Hi, Tali. Thank you.
What is Kaminando? What is your mission? What are you guys doing there?
Kaminando Habitat Connectivity Initiative, that is pretty much the full name. It has two components, I will say. First of all, the word caminando means walking, which is more something passionate that we were thinking about it because it reflects the way we do our work. We basically walk to do our job, which is doing research on jaguars. And the other component that is, I will say, is the most important is Habitat Connectivity Initiative. It means connectivity of the land, the wildlife, and people for a harmonious coexistence.
So you're working with jaguars, researching them. How is it to work with the third biggest cat in the world? Was it your goal all along?
It is my first experience, I have to say. I'm mammologist, biologist that study mammals, but my focus always been is reptiles. They are a little bit smaller. You are talking about lizards, snakes, frogs. You can find them easily. But working with jaguars has been really challenging. And it's not just because it's a jaguar and it's a big cat. It's because the nature of the species.
In what way?
The species are elusive and the populations are not as dense. And also they are smart that they don't want to confront people. So even though we've been really close to see them, we just realized that no, they were not here because in our research we see the footprints, we see the cameras with pictures like at 10 minutes away that they pass by, two of them sometimes, and we don't see them. So they might see us, but they avoid us. If you associate the ecology of the species with the habitat, it's even double challenging. We have to walk the land. We have to walk the montane forest, where is our study. It's challenging. Everybody who comes and join us to support us, they have a hard time on doing it. But at the end of the day, at the end of it, they are just fine and pleased that they've been there in that habitat.
So you talk about the Montane Forest, and that is in Panama. And just so people understand, it's different than a rainforest because it's in a higher altitude. The vegetation is a little different. It's hard for people to walk there, right? It's a little rough. Do you want to explain a little bit?
So when you talk about tropical forest or tropical rainforest, it does include the Montane Cloud Forest. One type of tropical forest is the one, for example, the Amazon. The Amazon is beautiful. You can just go, I don't know, 500 meters on the air and you see all is flat. You see the Amazon River just flowing to the Atlantic. But when you are in the tropical Montane Cloud Forest, the terrain is rough. There are high peaks, valleys that you have to cross, and really narrow valleys, which is maybe a little creek just passing by, and you have to travel over that. So the term of tropical montane cloud forest comes because the forest is defined as a piece of land that is in constant immersion in a layer of clouds. That's what is cloud forest.
And is that the natural habitat of the jaguar?
Jaguars are widespread over the Americas. Once upon a time, they were living from the United States towards Argentina, but unfortunately, deforestation and overpopulation has reduced the range almost 50% of it, and the population are diminished because of urbanization. So you can see it in different ecosystems, not only in the jungle, as everybody might assume. You see them in certain forests, like in Mexico, in Cancun, you might hear their population
Hmm.
isolated, but that's the result of deforestation and degradation of natural forest.
Right. And like any other area of life, we've learned the importance of balance. Here is balancing people that live in the jungle and the animals and plants and trees. Are you guys doing anything with the local community to support that?
Yeah, we have three pillars that sustain our project. First of all is our research. We are trying to acquire as much knowledge on the species, on the forest, and then we do an educational outreach to the communities that are in our study area. But also we work with the community to try them to find other sources of subsistence. Because the common belief is you say to them, don't cut the forest. But when you talk to them, it's like, well, yeah, you are telling me not to cut the forest, but you are not telling me how I'm going to get my income to sustain my family. You have to have knowledge of what they have, the status of the species or the habitat that they have, and then come and promote activities that may allow them to get some income and subsistence, and then they won't destroy the forest.
So it all boils down to educating the local community and giving them alternatives to logging. Can you share some examples?
Our research is the source of work that they have. We hire about six assistants, local assistants, because the knowledge on the habitat is incredible.
Hmm.
We have six families. The families are distributed in three communities, so there's two families in each community. And every time that we come down to do research, they are welcome to participate. And it's been amazing because now their kids are coming with us. They are teenagers, 15, 16 years old, and they want to come because they are excited about what we find because the knowledge is limited. And that's another thing that in an education program, we are trying to focus on, let them know what we find in the camera, how the jaguars are, and put it in their mind that nature is in our favor.
Right. So you talk about the camera and acquire knowledge, and you said that it's hard to spot the jaguars. They probably spot us, but we cannot see them. And that's why you use the cameras. Where do you put them? How do you reach? I mean, it's probably hard.
Camera traps or game cameras is a methodology that has given excellent results, especially for species that are elusive. The cameras detect the change in temperature on the environment. Let's say the camera will give you a temperature of 20 centigrade degrees.
Hmm.
Each animal has its own temperature, and like the spectrum, I think we are 37 degrees.
Right.
The moment that an animal passes, it triggers a picture or a video, depends on your settings of your camera, and take pictures of the animal. Or not only cats, not only, but also its prey. That's what it's important. So we have an assessment not only of jaguars or other cats, but also the prey. And interestingly enough, we also get to get some pictures about hunters. That's another information that it's on the side.
Human hunters, you mean?
Yeah, human hunters.
And probably illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal poaches. Some of them, I will say, it's sustainable poaching, which we are not against.
Hmm.
But as we communicate to the community, like we are not against that,
Why?
we support that because it's your tradition, it's the knowledge that's been having from years and you know how to do it. But the moment that you start selling what you have hunted, that's a problem. As there is an income in there. And when it's income involved, that is a big problem. Recently came out a report in Brazil that millions of species have been extirpated from 2012 to 2019, I believe.
Hmm.
Incredibly, it's because of the illegal poaching.
Yes.
The illegal poaching is an issue of really concern, especially in third world countries where poverty is an issue.
Right.
Will just little money will give them subsistence, but the damage that is caused to the host system is unmeasurable.
That's why it's important to get the community involved, feel and be part of the project, and dependent on the project.
It's a really delicate situation that happens over there because at the local level, poaching is the result of poverty, right? But
Hmm.
it involves corruption, inadequate enforcement, and political instability. When you see Brazil in the news,
Right.
really bad things, and there was the fires. People don't care about indigenous communities, so it's really complicated issue.
So you would say that humans are the biggest threats to the jungle and to the jaguars? Or do you see other threats?
I think we have several ecological stressors. Is not only one because everything interacts in one thing. For example, when you talk about deforestation
Hmm.
and then you talk about agricultural expansion, so these stressors, what they do is they aggravate the situation of the forest.
Right.
And the way they aggravate is because habitat fragmentation subdivides populations, wildlife population.
Hmm.
Together can profoundly affect both ecological and evolutionary dynamics of population species and community-wide level. Going back to what we started, habitat connectivity. I will say this from an ecological standpoint is considered to be one of the most important factors in maintaining biological diversity.
Hmm.
If we lose one section of the forest, that's critical for apis species.
There is an importance in the connectivity of the land for the preservation of the ecosystems. And by connectivity, we refer to pieces of land being connected in a way the animals can travel freely and they are not isolated.
Correct. The key for population to be stable through time is the ability to connect among them. If we have a section of forest that is way apart, and there in the middle there is agriculture ground, the species might not be able to move from one patch to another because of the highest risk of, let's say, we were talking about hunting. If it's a jaguar and you see him in a pasture land, probably somebody will shoot him, not understanding why the animal is crossing this patch that is unfamiliar. Habitat connectivity is fundamental population stability.
I'm risking asking a silly question now. In terms of connectivity of habitat, I can have a piece of the jungle and then some sort of field of crops and then continue with the jungle. So in theory, besides a hunter that may spot the jaguar and try to kill it, what stops the jaguars from crossing that piece of land? I mean, it's still nature. It's not a road or a highway or buildings that it's not familiar with. Why is it so important that we keep the jungle connected as a jungle versus anything else?
That is not a silly question. It's a really good question because I've heard that from the kids that we chat in the jungle. It's about familiarity. It's about comfort. The species has home ranges, and a home range is a set of variables where the species feels comfortable. It's not about only the danger of crossing land and being killed on the way. It's just the comfort zone that the animals have in their own existence.
What is the problem if they remain in just one secluded area?
What happens with the fragmentation of habitats is prevent animals to move from patch to patch, right?
Hmm.
But then it comes that the gene pool doesn't get the other genes that may allow the population to be strong, to the resilience of the population. The gene start degrading because there is no extra genes that allow this population to survive and keep moving. That is a big problem.
Well, just like humans, I guess they need to mate outside of their family.
Exactly, because the inbreeding causes the die of the species, basically. So there is again going back to connectivity. Is this time is not about connectivity of the forest, but connectivity of the species throughout the range.
I see. What are the three things you can share with our listeners that support healthy habitats for jaguars?
It's hard to define which one will be the most appropriate to say, can be understood in terms of how we prevent the forest to be degraded because it's a social and cultural issues involved in the process.
Hmm.
We are consumers. We are not smart consumers. We just get whatever we get, but we don't understand where it comes from.
Hmm.
That is a problem. We buy things that, let's say, talking about forests, things that are coming from areas where the deforestation is drastic, and still we are acquiring this material. The other one is what we eat. There is monoculture. Monoculture is the more dangerous ecosystem that can be on Earth because it just creates a space for singular species as well, but not, the biodiversity what it does in the forest.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you have, let's say, eating meat is, although it's good, I like it. So I try to minimize the consumptions of that. And we can keep talking about this, but I think these are the two major concerns that people should start thinking about it. And I think there is a trend these days where people are more conscious about it. People are aware of the consequences of having the traditional habits.
Yes. So one is to eat less meat, and if we go to purchasing, is maybe buy something that is rainforest friendly coffee or chocolate that we get from Ecuador,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, I didn't want to mention chocolate because it's really good. I like it. So
But you can get chocolate that is rainforest friendly. It doesn't. It could still
yes,
be good for the environment and not just tasty.
yeah, there are different organizations that get support from chocolate industry because they are jaguar friendly and organically grown. So there are ways, and there are products that come with good ecological sense in mind.
You talked about the different temperature of species, and that's how you capture different species on the camera. There are probably different and special facts that are unique to jaguars. Maybe you can share with our audience special three facts about the jaguars that we didn't know.
One is related to the size. The jaguar has the strongest bite than any other cats, including the ones in Africa. I think that's the most relevant. And traditionally, the indigenous people used to call it the animal that kills in one jump.
Hmm.
The ability to kill the prey, crushing the brain. And probably you have seen in Brazil, jaguars just hunting reptiles, including crocodiles.
Wow.
Yeah, the other one is there. The populations are diminished at a rapid speed compared to other species.
And that's because of their habitat.
Back in the years in the 1800s, people used to hunt them for the fur. I recall when I was a kid, the women feeling proud about wearing jaguar or any other cat clothing.
Wow.
A lot of jaguars. And then from the 1990s and the deforestation happened, yeah, the numbers are coming lower and lower. And then the poaching, those are the issues that we have about the jaguars. And another thing, it's about the lack of knowledge of the communities around, wherever the species is. For example, in Panama, they call it the tigre. And I've been asking why the name tigre. And the only answer that I get is because the influence of TV and the TV coming, the production is happening somewhere else, not in Panama, obviously.
Hmm.
And they see a lot of movies about other cats in Africa. It's not the cats in their own country, so they call it tigre. It's understandable, but for us, it's like, well, you should call it the way it is.
Yeah.
That's a surprise that probably people wouldn't know, but
Wow. They've been mixed even by the locals.
yeah, and that again, back to the social aspect,
Education. Hmm.
education. is something that has to change. The curricula has to change according to your living areas. And that's what we are promoting actually in our programming with the kids. It's getting to know the jaguar, conociendo el jaguar. So to let them know what the species the jaguar eats, and according to that, just put the actual names.
Right. It's sad and it's across everything. I feel like we are more disconnected from nature. I mean, if you'll show people different type of trees now, people will have hard time distinguishing them, just like the cats. For us, it's lion and tiger and maybe jaguar, right?
So what we do every 3 months, we had meetings at the school with other sponsors. Like here in California, we have the Oakland Zoo. We bring materials down there to share with the kids, educational materials. We are bringing the actual knowledge about the jaguars, about the forest in their own language, but it's something that is more tangible and we can discuss over there. So we go there, we have games. Obviously, I talk to them about it. We have PowerPoints to show them videos that we capture in our cameras. We sing songs. I'm not a good singer, but I try. Yeah, they are having fun. So every time that we come, oh, Milton and Kim are coming. Milton and Kim are coming. So they know us already, and that's what it's exciting.
And Kim is your co-founder, right?
Kimberly Crehet is our co-founder. After 4 years, we've seen results of our long time effort, but we have seen few changes. The kids and the parents, they want to work with us because of that curiosity. Once we will show them the pictures and the videos that we have created, and they are excited to go to the forest, not to hunt, but to enjoy it and do a work that is relevant for their community and also for the world.
Right.
And at the community level, we also have seen really good results. In 2019, I believe, was somebody trapped a tapir and he was ready to kill it. And the community stand and said, no, don't kill it. That was one of the more rewarding things that we have seen. We have excellent data over there and we are grateful for that. But having touched the community at that level, that was big for us.
Wow, this is a true butterfly effect. I mean, it's something that,
Yes.
right, you're doing with the jaguars and you're doing with the kids. You didn't expect them to go all the way that far, and sometimes you won't even know what it means, that how it affected those kids and those families, and you will see them maybe preserving more, maybe doing something completely different, and it will create that effect that will get more people excited. That's beautiful.
Yeah, we are not here forever. And as I tell them to the parents, it's like, well, you are working right now with us. You know pretty much what to do. And they are not biologists. They are people in the community that when they don't work with us, they try to work in agriculture. And I tell them, you can immerse your kid in our project. And maybe in the long run, they will be the ones that are going to be working in this project.
How did COVID-19 affect your work?
Yesterday, I was getting a phone call from one of them and letting me know that many cameras were stolen in a national park.
Wow.
So we see the pressure that is causing, not being able to have some income, but they had to eat. So there are more people going to the jungle.
As tourism is a bit of a challenge, and I know that's what you rely on, what can people do besides come and visit to support this project?
We are looking for sponsors, philanthropists, anybody who gets touched by this, by our activities, results. We ask people to be aware of the situation that is now happening, but also in general, how jaguars are disappearing, how the habitat is disappearing, how the forest is disappearing. Do what you can to support these projects that are essential for the survival of the species, including plants and now also with the global warming, that is another issue that is being stressed up because of deforestation, agriculture. So people have to be aware. Is the time to act is today.
Right.
We are working in a preventative way so it doesn't happen what happened in Africa, for example. Unfortunately, here in in our habitat, as I said, is so rough and you don't see the species. How can you protect that species that way? It's a call to everyone to understand that the situations are different between continents. America is also suffering with this issue. The species disappearing and millions of species are being extracted from the jungle. This is a stressful situation, not only for people that really are concerned about the nature, but also for the ecosystem as an disbalance. Every time that you take an animal, you are pretty much taking many animals at the same time. The effect, again, this is a negative effect of the illegal poaching and the way we handle nature. We haven't been nice to nature, and that's what we are facing now with COVID-19.
Right. And when you talk about balanced ecosystem, it's also related to the food chain. The jaguars need their prey, and when you take something away, you don't know, again, you don't know how it will affect.
When you take a jaguar, a top predator from the ecosystem, you are basically creating an imbalance in the ecosystem because other species will flourish and damage other species on the way. If you take a jaguar out of its environment, the carries, the pigs, the population of the pigs will explode, and these ones will just rush with the vegetation, and then you won't have regeneration of forest because the seeds have been eaten, the plants have been killed on the process. The consequences is a long-term effect.
What made you switch from reptiles to jaguars?
As a biologist, I always thought that one day I will have some piece of land somewhere where we can just retire. It had to be jungle because I grew up in the Andes. The Andes is already depleted. The forest got cut 100 years ago for agriculture. I will go to the jungle in Ecuador, to the areas Cuyabena, and it was an amazing place where you can just stay there, go in a canoe, no stress. I started guiding tourists. When I was about to finish school, I applied for a scholarship in the Galapagos Islands. And after working with sea lions, birds, finches, the Darwin finches,
Yes.
was this opportunity to study marine iguanas. It's like, wow, that's cool, reptiles. And then I came to the States and I studied behavior on habitat selectivity and food habits of snakes. These animals are amazing. You will never stop finding new things about them. To your question about, I said, okay, I need a jungle. And I was traveling around the world and in other places in Asia. And then I was talking to Kim, and Kim shared the same ideas. Like, she is the one that is in love with cats. She's passionate about it. And we decided, okay, cats. But I didn't know how extremely hard it would be to start this project.
Why?
This one gave me a lot of tranquility, I would say, because we were talking about the jaguar as a top predator that keeps the balance in the forest. So I said, well, that's a cool idea. Let's study jaguars. Let's protect the forest. And when we protect these two, we will protecting everything because the jaguar is considered the umbrella species. Umbrella species is that species that protects everything. So I said, well, I will have at least my frogs, my snakes, my turtles, because I have protected the forest. So that's how I ended up with jaguars.
Do you still find opportunities to look at those reptiles?
When we go to check the cameras, they are set apart like 2 kilometers away, but it takes 3, 4 hours to get from one side to another. Our goal is to check 2 or 3 stations. So that's about 6, 9 kilometers going up and down in the rain, in the mud, in the humidity. And our assistants, they don't have the patience. Sometimes I see a frog, it's like, oh, I see this one. I think this is the one. And I start taking pictures, and they're like, no, come on, it's gonna get late. It's gonna get nighttime, and we had to set the cameras and the campsite. They're like, oh my god! I just take a quick picture and I go with them. So it's it's been fun, but also frustrating in so many ways.
I can imagine. Why don't you use a cloud memory for the cameras so when those pictures are being taken, you automatically get notified and you can easily access them through the cloud and don't physically need to go and hike and get there?
The beauty of the technology,
Yeah.
that's a dream because the cameras are not set for remote access. You have to manually handle the data. You have to change batteries,
Mhm.
and we do it every 2, 3 months. there is no internet access. Sometimes we barely have a phone connection. With satellite phone, yeah, we can do that, but unfortunately not. We are deep in the jungle, no internet. Sorry.
I wonder if we can challenge anybody that is listening to
Oh,
do something with solar panels so you won't have to change the batteries and that you can somehow ping with the connections of all devices and get it down to you guys and maybe with that help.
that will be the most amazing project ever done in the study of jaguars. If there is someone out there that is interested on any aspects of our project, please let us know. Go to our website and we can start the conversation from there.
Challenge accepted. So whomever have the skill set and want to join and help Milton and Kim, please, I'm leaving their website on the comments. So just reach out to any of them. And who knows, the butterfly effect, help us.
Yes, help us. That is the word. Yeah, help us because it's not just one organization. It's us. It's the world. The world needs us.
How does it make you feel being out there in the jungle?
I think being in the forest is just healing. It's just forget about whatever is happening. It is hard in the process that you are walking in. It's hard. You process your life through it. And that brings to my experience of a friend of mine, and actually two friends. They came and joined me, and they had limited experience on hiking. But one of them, he suffered a lot. At the end of the whole journey, he told me, Milton, I think over this time, the 3 days that we spent together, I understand you better. And more importantly, I understand better myself. Was in his mind just working all the time through the process. That's what I call it, is healing.
So, all you have to do to improve your mental health is to walk in the forest.
Yeah, I think now these times people are recognizing that being under other species besides human is better. Being
Biodiversity,
on
yes.
biodiversity, you hear the birds, the frogs, you name it, and it might heal you. Yeah.
Yes. And what is your favorite tree?
Oh, you are asking me out of, I don't know, I think there's like 60,000 species of trees.
Yes, they are.
I will say is the ceiba, is the kapuk tree, I think they call it. This one is a really, I wouldn't say common anymore. I think it used to be widespread throughout the Americas. This tree, I remember when I was going again to the jungle in Ecuador, the Shuars and the Quichua people over there, the shamans, they consider as what we call father of all animals. A tree is pretty much an ecosystem. And the bigger and the older they get is even more complex because from top to bottom they live a lot of species and the benefits that they provide to the indigenous people. So I think that's what they consider as a father of all animals. The shamans will go and talk to the tree to solve, health issues of people.
Wow. Father of all animals. That's
Yeah, father of all
big.
animals.
Wow. You said already Caminando is because of walking. Now let's see how we say tree in Spanish.
Árbol. That's simple. Árbol.
Árbol. Okay.
Árbol. I know for you it's gonna be hard to say the R.
Thank you so much, Milton. I really appreciate everything that you're doing for the Jaguars, for the community in Panama, the community in the States. Please keep on doing what you're doing. It's very important.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to the people to understand what we all need, which is the forest, because as we know, they are controlling the oxygen that we breathe and they are taking the CO2 that we exhale. And more importantly, they are regulating the weather, our climate, which is now a big, big issue.
Thanks, Milton. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today as we spoke about jaguars and jungles and trees. We are all beautiful butterflies, each in his and her individual ways. I wanted to thank you for joining me today in this episode. I really appreciate you coming on this journey with me, and I hope to see you next time. And remember, it only takes a small action to make a big difference. Be a butterfly.
And that's all for this episode. Thank you for joining us today. Please subscribe to hear more of our stories of change.